That soil pollution means, from the name itself, we can understand contamination of soil. So if you have the presence of some toxic substances present in the soil, then it is known as soil pollution. So in the soil, if you have the presence of some unwanted substances that alters the quality of the soil, then it is known as soil pollution. Because if you have the presence of unwanted substances in the soil, then plants first in the initial step they may get affected, and this it will move through the food chain, and naturally animals and human beings also they may be polluted. So to understand the soil pollution, first you need to know what is soil. So soil means it is the thick layer of organic and inorganic material that covers the earth's rocky surface. Okay, so soil is the thick layer of organic and inorganic materials that covers the earth's rocky surface. Okay, so that is known as a soil. Now if you see the soil, it is getting polluted, okay, due to different reasons. So if you take the soil comprises of different layers. So in this slide you can see that you have different layers in the soil. That is, you have topsoil, and then you have subsoil, and then you have bedrock. You have three different layers in the soil. Usually the topsoil, it is rich in nutrients. So there are different layers. The first layer, that is the topsoil, it is rich in nutrients, and plants, trees and all, it will grow in that topsoil region. So topsoil also, if you see, it also contains some worms like earthworm that is helpful for the growth of plants. Also the upper part of this topsoil, it is in that you have humus. Okay, humus, it contains a lot of dead plants and leaves and animals. So these dead plants and leaves, it is slowly decayed by the soil bacteria. Okay, so naturally it will form the humus. Okay, so and this humus, it is utilized by the plants. The nutrients that you have in this, it is utilized by the plants for its growth. So like this soil, it's the topsoil, if you see, it's rich in nutrients, and you have a lot of minerals present in the topsoil, and that nutrients, it helps in the growth of the plants. So topsoil is fertile. And the next part, if you see, next part is the subsoil. So the subsoil, if you see, it contains some small particles of the rock. So this particle of the rock, it is also called the parent rock. And this parent rock, it is broken down into the smaller particles to form the soil. So if you see, take soil, you have this next layer, that is subsoil layer, and then below that you have the bedrock, or it is also known as the grandparent rock. Okay, like this you have different layers in this soil. Okay, you have different layers, namely topsoil, subsoil, and then you have bedrock. So soil is composed of different layers. It is also known as horizons. So you have different horizons present in the soil. Okay, so you have different layers. So in soil, in general, you should know about this. Next, let us see about this soil pollution in detail. So now we know that due to human activities and other things, soil, it is getting polluted. So soil pollution means degradation of the soil and land due to industrial, agricultural and other human activities. That is called as soil or land pollution. So if you have degradation of soil or land, then it will have a lot of negative impact on the environment. So if you take soil pollution, it refers to the contamination of the soil. So this happens mainly due to human activities, or sometimes it may occur due to natural process also. So in this slide, you can see some images where that soil, it is getting contaminated due to dumping of garbages, and then the dumping of some industrial waste, that the soil, it is getting contaminated. So soil gets contaminated due to the dumping of some industrial waste, and due to dumping of some trash and other things, it naturally gets contaminated. So sometimes if you see some toxic substances that you have in the soil, if you have the the presence of some toxic contaminants like lead or mercury present in the soil, then it can affect the soil quality. Also, due to lack of awareness, also now the soil, it is getting contaminated. So some human activities like dumping of chemicals that may increase the alkalinity or acidity of the soil, that it will degrade the quality of the soil. So due to lack of awareness also, some people, they dump all waste materials into the soil. Of awareness also, some people, they dump all waste materials into the soil, and this, it will affect the quality of the soil. Okay, so if you see the causes for this soil pollution, it is mainly due to discharge of industrial waste into the soil. So if industries, if they discharge the toxic wastewater after their process, after carrying out the industrial process, simply if they discharge the wastewater into nearby land areas, then naturally it will lead to soil pollution. Okay, so industries, they need to treat the wastewater properly, and then they need to discharge it. Without treating the wastewater directly, if they discharge the wastewater into soil, then it will lead to soil pollution. So if you see human activities, it has a significant influence in this soil pollution. So this industrial waste, if you see, it is from different industries like textile industry, paper and pulp industry, pesticide industries. These industries, sometimes directly they'll discharge the wastewater into soil. So this, it will lead to soil pollution. So there are different other reasons for this soil pollution, like this percolation of contaminated water into the soil. Okay, if you have contaminated water that is percolating deep into the soil, then that also, it will lead to soil pollution. Also, rupture of underground storage tank, also it will lead to soil pollution. And modern agricultural practices like using excess fertilizers and pesticides in agricultural fields. Farmers, they need to use fertilizer and pesticides only in required quantities. If they use excess fertilizers, you just note down that word excess. When they use excess fertilizers and pesticides, then it will lead to soil pollution. Okay, because these excess fertilizers and pesticides, it may kill the earthworm. Earthworm, it is considered to be a friend of farmers. So when you have the presence of excess pesticides, if it kills the earthworm, then naturally soil quality will be getting affected. Okay, so for that only, you should not use excess fertilizers and pesticides, and you should use only required quantity of fertilizers and pesticides. Also, soil erosion, also it's one important cause for this soil pollution. So soil, when soil, it is getting eroded, naturally the topsoil, it will be getting carried away along with the rainwater. So naturally it will lead to soil pollution. Also deforestation. Deforestation means cutting of trees. If you cut trees, then naturally it will lead to soil pollution. So now let us discuss that some important causes for this soil pollution in detail. So industrial waste, if you see, it's one main reason for this soil pollution. So disposal of toxic industrial waste into the soil, that it will lead to soil pollution. So here in this slide, you can see that some industries directly, they'll dump the toxic wastewater into nearby water bodies. So this, it will lead to soil pollution. Okay, so they need to treat the wastewater, that is industries like textile industries, and then if you take paper and pulp industries, they need to treat the wastewater. That is, after their treatment process, they need to go for proper wastewater treatment, and then they need to discharge the wastewater into nearby water bodies. Without treatment, directly if they discharge the industrial wastewater into nearby water bodies, then it will lead to water pollution. Okay, so what water pollution, not only water pollution, if they discharge into soil, it will lead to soil pollution. Okay, so if you take water pollution and soil pollution, these two are somewhat related actually, both the soil and water. In some places, if you can observe that it is related, because sometimes industries, they discharge a toxic wastewater into nearby water bodies. And sometimes some industries, they'll discharge toxic wastewater into nearby land areas. Okay, so it is if you know about water pollution, then some points you can write in soil pollution also, because dumping of industrial waste either into the water or into soil, it will lead to pollution. Okay, so here in the case of this soil pollution, dumping of industrial waste into the soil, it leads to soil pollution. So pulp and paper industries, tanneries, textile industries, these industries, when they discharge the wastewater into nearby land areas, into into the soil, then it will lead to this soil pollution. Like this, you have urban waste, that is commercial and domestic waste. When it is dumped into the soil, then that also it will lead to soil pollution. So garbage and rubbish material, if it is dumped into the soil, then it will lead to soil pollution. Also modern agricultural practices. Now if you see farmers, they use excess fertilizers and pesticides. So when farmers use excess fertilizers and pesticides, then it will lead to this soil pollution. Also soil erosion also, it will lead to soil pollution, because during soil erosion, what happens, the top soil, it is getting removed, that superficial layer that you have in the soil, it is getting removed. So naturally this also, it will lead to soil pollution. So you have different problems due to this soil pollution.